weren't born the same. I do this for my people, I don't do this for the fame. I was born with the game, you weren't born the same. I do this for my people, I don't do this for the fame. You keep the chains, keep the change, just give me my reign and leave me my lane, and just remember my name.
From up above, you know you make my world light up. When I was down, when I was hurt, you came to lift me up. Life is a drink and love's a drug. Oh, now I think I must be mine. Just sent from up above, I feel you coursing through my blood. Life is a drink, your love's about to make the stars come out. Put your wings on me when I was so heavy, or on a symphony. When I'm
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all of you once again. How's the Josh, guys? Just let me know into the chat box how was the previous session which we just ramped up from 10 to 12. I want to know from all of you into the chat box how was that session and how is the Josh. A lot of you have already started replying to me. Awesome, great. So we'll be starting the session at correct 4:05, that is 4:05 p.m. Right? And then let us wait for more, other participants to just kindly join in so that they should not miss anything. They should be hooked on to from the very start of the event. So we have a very special guest today. I already conveyed to all of you who will be that special guest. Let us wait for another 3 to 4 minutes, so that I can, go ahead and introduce him. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be starting at 4:05. A very good evening to all of you present here, guys. Would like to start the session, which is this third session of Masai Carnival, for which you all have registered, on a note of gratitude. Thank you so much for staying with us so far, and we are really gonna have a lot of sessions. We have planned a lot of sessions in line for all of you. We look forward we look forward to your participation in those as well. Now, before I start, let me just give a very short and quick introduction what Masai School is all about, right? All the while the music was playing, I was just going through the chat. All of you have guessed it very right. The topic of today's it's a kind of interesting topic to which I believe a lot of you would relate and want to know more about it. But let me first cover what Masai School is. Masai School is a 20th century coding school. So what are we trying to do in today's time is we're trying to bridge the gap between untapped talent and the in-demand jobs. When our founder, Mr. Prateek Shukla founded Masai School, he had only one aim in his mind: to revolutionize how education is perceived in our country. And if it is successful here, we are going to, replace it to other countries as well. With that, let me share my screen. Awesome. I hope everyone can see my slide. Okay. So again, welcoming you all to our coding carnival. The something which we go by very strictly here is you will crack into the tech industry. The catch here is no matter what your education background really is. And I'm very sure that by this time, after attending the two sessions, one taken by Mr. Nupal, one taken by Mr. Varun, but all of you have thrown that particular doubt, apprehension, or myth into a dustbin, which says that if you are not from a certain background, you cannot do coding. Let me introduce you all to the this particular day two's session 3 of Masai Carnival. The topic for today's would be preparing for the Mang internship. Now, I already asked what is the full form of Mang, and all of you just stated that very right. It is Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. And no, it doesn't stop here. There are a lot of companies which fall under the same platform just like Mang. Microsoft is one of them, right? Awesome. So let me introduce to the man of the hour, one of our special guest, Mr. Lohit. He is currently handling the senior curriculum engineer position at Masai School. He has done his internship from Microsoft and was a part of Bing and Cortana team. He did his internship from American Express from Jan 2019 to June 2019. He graduated in PE Computer Science from BITS Pilani, Goa. He's a full-time software developer engineer at Coordination from July 2019 to May 2021. Currently, he is not only a software development engineer, but also heading the curriculum part here in Masai School. Would really love to, welcome you, Mr. Lohit.
Yeah. Hi, Vivek. Thanks for introducing me, and hi, everyone. I think how many folks do we have already on the call? Okay. Yeah, that's a plenty one. Can just everybody drop a hi if they can hear me and see me properly? Awesome. Cool. So, I mean, before I begin with the session, I generally tend to understand where and what background all the audience is from. So how many of you would be interested in sharing where are you from, what colleges, what year, what are you doing right now? Please drop in chat. Okay, some folks are from Chennai, Indore, Kerala, Meerut, Bangalore, Nasik. Okay, Nagpur, Chennai, Yavatmal, nice. Jaipur, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Indore, Pondicherry, Delhi, Andhra Pradesh. Okay, I think we have folks from almost all over the India, I guess. Kolkata, Assam, Kerala, Kashmir. Okay, that's great. Gujarat, Noida, Chennai. Okay, now I think it's running way faster than I can possibly read. But yeah, thanks for sharing, everyone. So just letting everyone know, I've been around in software development field for roughly around 3.5 years. What do I do at Masai School? I at times I build I engage in building products which are used by our students or the team, as well as I take a few classes here and there or mentor students during their journey of education, right? So why am I doing that? Because I genuinely love teaching or love mentoring folks, and yeah, it would be great if I would be mentoring some folks from the audience too. Cool. So let's begin. How many of you have an idea of what we are going to discuss in today's session? Quickly drop the topic or drop some hint. Okay, Mang. Okay. Internships, Mang. Okay. Okay. Software development. Okay. Tricks to crack Mang interviews. Okay. So I let me just give a disclaimer. There are no tricks which can help you get in, at least not an internship or an interview. So just giving a disclaimer, we are not dealing with any tips and tricks over here. We are dealing with a proper journey, how you should actually prepare and be confident. Tricks can only work 1 in 100 times. A proper preparation roadmap will work 99 out of 100 times. Qualities to get into MNC companies. Okay, yes. Web development, software development. Okay, so let us begin. Let me share my screen. Please let me know if everybody can see my screen. Awesome. Cool. Let me set the context. The topic of today's discussion, or the webinar, is basically we will be discussing how to prepare for Mang internships, right? So since many of you might be hearing the words or key terms for the first time, feel free to drop in any questions you have in the chat. And if I feel like, okay, this is something that needs to be answered, I will right away answer it. And in any case, we are going to have a session of Q&A or a short Q&A session at the end. So yeah, feel free to drop in questions or note down and later ask them. Okay, so great. I think the first question someone from the audience has already put forward, what is Mang? Okay, so before we begin the discussion, let's understand what is Mang, and even more so what is Mang Mullah. So I don't know how some of you might have heard Mang, but pretty sure very less of you would have heard of Mang Mullah. So yes, anybody wants to guess what does Mang Mullah stand for? I think in the beginning of the session, a lot of you answered for Mang. Anybody wants to guess what the second half Mullah stand for? Okay. Okay, some of you have got the first 5 right. Many of you are getting the Mang right. Okay. Okay, many of you are getting M and U also right. What about L? L and last A. So you are free to Google. I am okay if you want to Google or Bing or search it on the internet. Yes, so okay, well, someone has given a very interesting answer for you. Okay, okay. Still, I haven't got any correct answer yet. Okay, I got one correct answer for you. Two, okay. Many people are getting U correctly. What about LNA? Okay, 2 people have got LNA correctly. I think by now, many of you already know what does this MANG stand for. Okay, let's move on to the answers. Okay. LA does not stand for Los Angeles, at least not in this context. Yeah, so M, the first M stands for Meta, previously also called as F or Fang Mula Facebook. Second A is for Apple. Third one is for Amazon. Fourth one is for Netflix. G is for Google. Then the other M is for Microsoft. After that, U stands for Uber, L stands for Lyft, and A stands for Airbnb. So previously this was called Fang Mula also. F stood for Facebook. Facebook renamed itself to Meta, and that is why it is now called Mang Mula. I guess everybody clear with what does Mang or Mang Mula stand for. So what are we going to discuss? We are going to discuss how can we get an internship or even a job if we aspire for joining in these companies as an intern, or specifically a software development intern. in these companies, right? So before that, again, what is internship? Anybody wants to discuss about internship? Okay. So before moving, some people are asking me to introduce these companies. So Meta is Facebook. I hope everybody has used Facebook. It was at some point of time probably one of the biggest social media platforms. Meta is basically Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all these three social media platforms combined, and a few other social media platforms also. What does Apple? Apple is a Apple started out as a device platform, and now it's a very big MNC which caters to multiple products. iPhone being its iPhone, iPad being its I think prominent products. I hope everybody would have heard of iPhone. Amazon, pretty much a household name now. E-commerce company, but they have also extended to various other services like video, Prime Video, etc. Netflix, probably biggest online TV series or OTT streaming platform. Most of the movies, at least the Hollywood and the Bollywood ones, are available on Netflix as well as the TV series, right? Then you have G standing for Google, the biggest search engine, biggest and the fastest and the best search engine in the world. They have also extended to various other products, but their search engine is the most famous one, right? Because we all of us use it. Microsoft, very much famous for our Windows and OS. Again, known for its vision to have a computer in each and every household of the world. Uber, the problem they solved the problem of travel from one place to another without any hassle. Same with Lyft. So Uber and Lyft are directly competing companies. They help people travel from one point to other using cabs, booking via mobile. And Airbnb, it's for hotel and travel reservations in India. So you can list your own house for a stay, and someone can book it for a stay for X period of time. So I hope everybody is well versed with these companies. These companies are probably the biggest companies in the world in terms of valuation. I think Apple and Microsoft have already crossed the 1 trillion valuation. Airbnb and Google are about to cross 1 trillion valuation in the world. So yeah, these are the companies we are going to talk about, how to get into these. Okay, so what is an internship? So someone has answered. Internship is practical work experience related to career. Okay, internship is all about to enhance skills, real-time problems. Position of a student or a trainee who works in an organization sometimes without pay in order to gain experience. Okay, I mean, that's a very Wikipedia definition. Internship, working for a very short period of time. Yeah, makes sense. Practical training, getting job, getting trained, professional learning experience. Okay. Okay, I think many of you have got it right. Learning, practical experience, pre-job. Okay. So there is no fixed definition of what an internship is, but I was just trying to put a definition to it, and this is where I came to, right? Also, I hope everybody is comfortable in English, right? Or do we have folks in Hindi? Or anybody who is not comfortable in Hindi probably only prefers English? Yeah, I think most of the people are suggesting to go for English with Hindi mix. Okay, so I'm predominantly from Hindi background, but since I've been teaching in English itself, I might be more focused on English. But yeah, I will try to rope in Hindi some at some point of time, right? So yeah, so what is an internship? Internship is basically a work contract, you can say, for 2 to 3 months of an employment at companies. The company can be a startup, it can be a very big company, it can be a very small company. Internship can be of 2 months, 6 months, even 1 year. Totally depends. What's the purpose of an internship? From a candidate perspective, a candidate joins a company to understand what is work and what is work going to look like. What are the interesting projects happening in the domain that they want to work in, right? So that is what is there for for the candidate. From the company from a company perspective, why do they hire interns? So instead of interviewing a person for only 2-3 hours, it is better to hire them for 2-3 months, observe them, how they are working, how they are learning, how are they willing to push themselves beyond what is expected, and are they worthy enough to join the company, right? So it's like a mutual agreement that both of them try to test each other. The candidate or the person tries to test the company tries to test the individual, right? So this is what the internship model tries to solve for the companies and the candidates. Now, why should you go for an internship, right? Like, why does everybody want to do an internship? या हमें internship क्यों करनी चाहिए, right? सब कोई internship के पीछे क्यों पागल है, right? So I was again trying to jot down points why I went for Microsoft or why I felt like कि मेरे को Microsoft में intern करना चाहिए, right? I had an offer from some other companies also, and I was मतलब at that point of time it was very keen, or I was very keen or very adamant on having an internship, right? So I realized these were the reasons. I think I wanted to get some expertise on my subject, that was tech. So I wanted to understand how software development actually works in real life, right? In real world. I wanted to get a hang of what does work life look like, what does it mean to work with professionals, and I actually wanted to work on something impactful. So that is where I went with Microsoft. They told me that I will be working on Cortana. Cortana is something used by millions of people in the world, and that is where I felt probably internship makes sense, and it makes sense to see how a big company also works, right? And obviously, I mean, now maybe not all internships give you stipend, but Microsoft had give me a decent stipend, as well as they took care of a lot of other things, right? And more importantly, I felt going to Microsoft allowed me to network with a lot of people, right? So I work with a team of 10 to 12 people who directly, right? That's a direct connection. And going regularly to office, this was before COVID. So going regularly to the office allowed me to meet a lot of other people of the same tech mindset, right? So ये सब reasons थे why I felt that going for internship is a good idea. This is why people want to go to internships, and this is why everyone should give a try at internship. At the same time, I enjoyed a lot at Microsoft. I also interned at American Express. That was for 6 months. So Microsoft internship was roughly 2.5 months, 10 weeks, and American Express was roughly 6 months. So American Express again is a company which deals with credit cards. So I was a data science intern over there. So yeah, I think everybody is clear with what is Mang, what is internship, why should we do an internship. I think सबको यहाँ तक समझ आ रहा है, everybody is on the same page. So a lot of you are asking questions. I'm purposefully not answering them because I will be answering them later. So if I get a question which I know I will answer later, I will not answer them right now. So don't feel as if I'm ignoring or something. It is just that I know that I will answer that question later. So I want to ensure that everybody is on the same page. Cool. Let's move on. Now let's understand what's the preparation node. Okay, so this is a very generic preparation node in software development field. This is not applicable to big companies. Okay, why am I putting this out? Because a lot of people get confused and they want to stick to a single roadmap for all the companies. So that is not how it happens. Big companies generally have a different pipeline of hiring and interviewing compared to generic small scale startups, right? So if you're looking to join a very small company or a very early stage startup, the best pathway is to learn a programming language, learn a front-end framework, learn a back-end framework, and do some projects and pitch yourself to those companies, right? So early stage startups are looking for people who can directly start working for them right at the day one. Okay. So if anybody tells you that I mean, this is the only one way to get into startups and the big companies. I don't think it is a right way to go about it. So different companies require a different roadmap, but this particular format generally tends to work for most of the companies, or at least the early stage startups and small companies, right? But this we will not be addressing right now because this is not the focus of the webinar or the session. Okay, so let's get to the focus. Mang internships. What are Mang internships? We already discussed. How do you prepare for Mang internships? So Mang internships or interviews at Mang internships generally focus on one concept, that is problem solving using DSA. Okay, so what is problem solving using DSA? You will be given a problem statement, and what does DSA stand for? DSA stands for data structures and algorithms. Okay, so these are some concepts in computer science or software development which you are supposed to use to solve that particular problem. Okay, so a very simple problem can be, I give you, I ask you that tell me on what page number the word dictionary lies within the dictionary. Okay, so tell me on what page number the word book lies. Okay, so there are certain algorithms that you follow to find a particular word in a dictionary, right? Or let's say you have your phone book, right? In your phone, you have a book in which you search for contact. So let's say you type Lohit, Lohit, correct? And if you type Lohit, you should be able to get, or you should be able to search your name, right? Out of how many numbers you have, let's say 500,000 numbers, right? So all these are problems, right? There are algorithms or there are concepts in computer science or software development that help solve these problems. So that is what DSA stands for, data structures and algorithms. These are concepts in computer science or software development which help you solve a problem, right? So I mean, I in my experience, this is probably the most important criteria to crack an internship at a Mang company. I was asked similar questions at Microsoft, at American Express, at Coordination, at I think I at some point of time I have also interviewed for Google and Amazon. Everywhere I was asked questions on DSA and solely on DSA, at least as an intern, at least as a fresher, right? And they tend to focus only on DSA. I think 90% of the interviews are going to be DSA. So very important that you become a very professional or very good at solving problems using DSA, right? So what is the key to mention? What is the key to become better at DSA? The first step is to learn a programming language. It can be of your choice: C++, Java, Python, JavaScript. Preferably, learning C++ or Java makes sense, but generally there is no. I mean, as an interviewer or as a company, there is no bias. Even if you solve it in Python, Java, JavaScript, it's fine. Just that most of the world tends to solve using C++, Java, and Python. You will find most of the resources using Python, C++, and Java, right? So try to focus on them, and your learning curve will be made easier because you will be able to find more solutions or more resources in these languages. Although if you choose to prefer some other language, it's totally fine. Most of the companies are more than willing to are open to any of the languages of your choice. The key is that you should be very good at one language and you should be able to write code in those languages. Once you have become good at languages, right, what's the next step? You start solving problems using DSA. Okay, so I mean, a simple Google or a simple search will help you find out what are the key topics in DSA, but I have still listed them down over here. You can always choose to solve problems from these topics. Very important. You should be solving at least 5 to 10 or 15 problems from each topic. There are the list of standard 500, 600 questions which you can solve within a span of 6 months to get prepared for internships, right? So very important that you solve all these basic DSA topic problems so that you are well prepared for interviews and for your internship, right? Where can you find problems on these topics like two pointers, stacks, recursion, binary search, greedy, dynamic programming graphs? there are very famous platforms called LeetCode, HackerRank, right? These two are probably the most famous in India. Yeah, Geeks for Geeks is another famous platform. Yeah, definitely. So these are some very famous platforms. Why LeetCode is most famous? Because their quality, the content is of high quality, plus the errors are very less. So even my recommendation is, if someone is preparing or wants to prepare for these internships or interviews, they should refer LeetCode for the same. Right? Let's move on to the next part of it. What's most important? Okay, let's say you are done with all this, right? You are done with all the basics. You have done a lot of practice. Okay, what do you do next? Participate in coding challenges. Okay. What's the problem? Why do people don't prefer to participate in coding challenges? Because they get obsessed with ranks. Make sure that when you're a beginner or an intermediate, you should not worry about your rank, but rather you should participate in coding challenges because it helps you build a peer network, right? आपको पता चलता है कि आप किसके साथ compete कर रहे हो. You make friends with them, you learn from them, they learn from you. You will be checking out their code, right? From time to time, they will be checking out your code, and you will learn. This is how you build connections. Your connections are going to be very important to get internships or jobs. Secondly, it helps you build a mindset to solve problems within time, right? So every coding challenge has a time foundation, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, right? So it helps you focus, and it pushes you to think within a time, right? So that is why coding challenges are very important. It helps you identify your weakness and strength areas. If you're able to solve a problem quite easily, that means that's your strength area. Whereas if you're not able to solve a problem within a given time frame, that means it is your weakness area. And many companies tend to offer interviews directly based on your performance in coding challenges. I think I got an interview at Google because I did well in the coding challenge. Same with Facebook. I interviewed for Facebook London a year back just because I did well in the coding challenge called Hacker Cup. Even Quora has a coding challenge. Google has Kickstart. They have something called Fubar. They have something called hackathons. I don't Hacker Cup. Facebook has something called Hacker Cup. Google has something called Kickstart and Hashcode. Right. So all these companies have. Even LeetCode organizes various challenges. HackerRank has various company challenges. I think Morgan Stanley, Microsoft, etc. organize their challenges on HackerRank. So always participate in coding challenges once you are ready with a decent practice, right? So if you are going to participate without practicing anything, it will not help. And lastly, it is fun. I mean, always being competitive always brings out that fun spirit, right? So very important that you practice and then also put your practice to test, right? So 80% practice, 20% test. So once a week, you should always participate in some or the other coding challenge. Okay. Follow and reach out to professionals, peers for advice and improvement guidance. Very important. You should always have some mentors or someone guiding you. You don't have to follow their advice always, but you should always know what you are doing right or wrong. Right. So having a mentor or someone who can guide you along your journey makes your journey easy. Plus, it helps you be on track. Since there are a lot of resources, or I say a lot of confusion that can happen because a lot of resources, it is very easy to digress. मतलब ये बहुत आसान है कि you will go कि ये करूँ or whether I go for this choice or whether I go for this choice. Very important that you have a mentor who can help you stick to a perfect plan, right? बहुत easy है to get diverged. You will feel like, okay, let's do this. That should not happen. Pick up a plan and stick to it till the end. Very important. And that is where I think having a mentor or having someone who can probably advise you the right path is important. Okay, so yeah, now some of you are asking how to create an effective resume. So this is where we are. What's an effective resume? I mean, why should we have an effective resume? Because it's very important. These companies are very big. I think Microsoft, when I interned at Microsoft, the HR told me that they received around 1 million applications. That is 10 lakh applications, 10 lakh resumes, and they have to select 200 people. Okay. So your resume has to be very effective. I mean, you cannot just write anything because they will just discard it, right? Like if they find something which is not appropriate or which does not add value, you will get rejected right away because they have a lot of other people to review also, right? So a very clean resume, to the point resume is very important. Mention what you are good at. Very important that if you are applying for a tech internship, you should put forward your tech skills. You should not put forward your sport. I mean, you can put it as an extracurricular activity, but don't write a lot about your sports skills or your art skills or something like that, right? You need to focus that, okay, I mean, you are good at problem solving, you have done these projects, you have solved these many questions, you have performed this well at this particular coding challenge, or you have participated in this hackathon and build this project, etc. So all these things should go in your resume, right? So don't put something which is not going to help me understand whether you're good at tech or not, right? So very important about that. And try to be very simple and concise. Don't write 10-15 lines about a simple project. I think more than 3 lines or 4 lines, I think 3 lines and 4 lines are more than enough to explain your project. Any project is explainable in 3 to 4 lines. I think these days, a person from Twitter, Elon Musk, is very much into the news. There is a very interesting resume PDF that he, I think, released 2-3 years back. So and that was a 1-page resume. So imagine a CEO of 4 to 5 companies writing his resume in 1 page, right? So go through that resume and understand how you can write an effective resume. Understand, a CEO of 4 to 5 companies has written his resume in 1 page in bullet points. So we should also be able to do that when we are not CEO of 4 or 5 companies, right? So be very effective in writing your resume. School achievements, preferably not. That is what I'm trying to say. Like if it is not a very high value achievement, you can just avoid it. Extracurricular activities, you can put it if you want to, but generally it is not given as much value. Okay. One more thing about effective resume or something is you can always reach out to professionals and peers. I think I've mentioned this previously. I'm putting it out again. You can always ask your mentors or professionals what can be improved in your resume, what can be improved in your profile, how can you become better at giving interviews, how can you become better at coding, right? So very important that you have a mentor or someone who is guiding you out, or reach out to professionals using platforms like LinkedIn, right? Stay in consistent connect with HRs professionals who can help you in this track. They often put out advice or blogs or pointers on building a career, right? So go through them, and once you feel that you are ready with all the skills that are required, you should reach out to them asking for what opportunities they have in their companies for you, right? Or you can tell them that you would be interested in joining as for this opportunities in their companies, right? So these are the mix of, I think someone mentioned what are the tricks to get an internship. So I don't think these are tricks. This is the right way to go about getting an internship, right? Like you build your skills, then you build your network, then you leverage your skills and network to get what you want, right? So these are not tricks, but this is how you actually get an internship or a job, right? So whatever I said, most of it is applicable also for jobs, just in case if someone feels कि ये internships के लिए applicable है, right? So I hope all these things make sense to everybody. So starting was becoming very good at tech, especially problem solving for man companies, right? Then the second step was building a network, a tech network, community of tech network professionals who can mentor you in your coding skills. Then building a effective resume or a profile, right? Your LinkedIn also is a resume, right? So try to keep it as clean, as neat as possible. Again, reach out to professionals who can advise you to make a better profile, make a better resume. And lastly, the third step. So the first step was becoming very, very good at tech. Second step was building a very good profile or a resume. That is basically putting out yourself very nicely. And the third step, that is communication or soft skills, right? So express yourself very, very confidently, communicate your ideas very, very clearly, and be, I mean, you should be having that respect for the community or the people on the other side of table, even if you probably have skilled yourself very well, right? So humility is also very, very important part of this journey, right? So because companies are looking for team workers, right? So I know people who are very, very good at tech, but they are not able to explain what they have coded, or they are not able to explain their solutions. I'm not going to hire you, right? Because you are not able to explain what you are doing, right? So big companies at least look for people who can mentor people, who can work with people, who can learn from people, right? So your soft skills, your behavior, your presentation skills, everything become very, very important for these aspects. I think almost all the big companies have a round called culture fit round, right? So that is where they check how confident, how well do you communicate yourself, have you learned from your mistakes, are you able to present yourself very well. All these things become very, very important. So, and the lastly, you should be able to express the work done by you. I mean, some people think that expressing what you have done is bad. I mean, it's not bad. The companies want you to express what you have done, because that is how they can judge you, right? So always, you whatever you think is a very small achievement can be a very big achievement for the other side of the table person, right? So three parts, very, very important. First part, building technical skills. Second part, building good profile. Third part, building soft skills. I think the triangle of this helps you get a good internship. Being good in 2 out of 3 is more than enough. Being good in 3 out of 3, it is amazing. Having only one, not good, right? So how can one apply for Mang internship? First of all, build your skill set, then build your profile and resume. Reach out to people who are working at Mang companies. You can reach out to HRs or any friends or any network people who are in these Mang companies or the companies that you aspire. Ask them, is your profile having enough to be there, or do you have to work more? If they feel that you are prepared, then they will refer you always to apply to their companies, right? So yeah, I think, yeah, that was all about my thoughts about how to prepare for internships, right? Very, very important that you stick to a particular roadmap. It is very, very easy to get confused because there are a lot of resources. So having a mentor is always recommended. How to get a referral? Again, as I said, you will have to. So it's like once you build your skill set, automatically you will start understanding how to build that network. Automatically you will identify people, people will identify you, and automatically you will start building that network of people who can recommend you. So you will have to go and ask people that, hey, I'm looking forward to work at your company. How do I, like, this is my resume, how can I go about it, or can you help me with it, right? So it's okay. I mean, at the most they are going to ignore you, right? But people don't take offense at it. I mean, people generally reached out to me, they reach out to me still, and I generally don't take offense, right? If I feel that I can help the other person, most of the people are open to that. Yeah. So how to improve logic building? I think practice. DSA or problem solving logic building is a lot about math. You solve the same problems again, similar kind of problems, and you identify patterns, and those patterns help you solve problems. So yeah. can I email companies HR? Yeah, you can write a very decent email and you can always do that. As long as it's properly written email with due respect, as I mentioned. Is there anything more a non-CSE person has to study? So in my experience, I feel in today's world, having a computer science degree maybe can have some advantage, but overall, I think it does not have much advantage. Most of the people are, I mean, open to hiring any folks, right? They don't really matter. It doesn't really matter whether you are from computer science background or not. It can have some advantage because there is some automatic learning that happens because you're a computer science student. But I don't think there is a lot of bias in general, in my opinion. I haven't felt the bias. I have friends who are from other departments of engineering. Even I know people right now who are CA and they moved to software development. There are people who I know did bachelor's of arts in history, social sciences, and they are doing internships or jobs in companies like these, right? So I don't think there is any difference in that. Cool. So folks, thanks for attending the session. I think I had a pleasant time discussing about my experiences as well as helping you out. How can you proceed? Feel free to drop me a message on LinkedIn if you liked the session, if you felt there could have been an improvement, or if you feel I can help you in some way more, right?
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you so much, Lohit. I think it was a wonderful session in all its nature. But I do have few questions, which I would really love to ask to you. And I think that those questions are kind of generalist in nature. I think most of the folks who are attending this particular session would be able to very better, relate to it. But before that, I would like to share Google form to all of you. So I would request all of you to kindly fill this Google form. Uh, again, as I said, in every session, the top 50 responses will be getting a 500 rupees, brand voucher from Amazon or Flipkart. And all of the folks who fill the form will be getting a free prep material from Prep Leaf for coding. Okay. I've already sent the Google form into the chat box, guys. If you're facing any problem, please let me know. We'll wait for maybe 2 minutes before we start with the final Q&A round with Lohit. Awesome. So again, repeating, I want all of you to kindly fill the Google form. We want to know how the session went so far. We want to take inputs from all of you and what's in it for you. Definitely, who doesn't want a 500 rupees brand voucher? Top 50 responses will be selected from each of the sessions, and this is just one of the sessions, right? So kindly fill a Google form. Also, guys, I think you can also, if you have any kind of questions you want to ask to Lohit, with respect to his journey so far. He started, I did his internship in Microsoft. I think you please feel free to ask. I do have few, questions prepared from my side here as well. We'll wait for 1 more minute before we close, this particular thing and start with the Q&A. I'm getting a lot of interesting questions. Another 1 minute, guys, before we start with the Q&A. Okay, someone wants me to share the link once again. I've shared it. So for all of you who have filled the Google form, kindly type yes into the chat box. Okay. Some of you still haven't filled the Google form. We'll wait for another 30 seconds before we move on to the Q&A. How many of you have filled the Google form? Type yes into the chat box. Awesome. Cool, guys. So, for rest of you can keep on filling the Google form. My team will be sharing the same into the chat box. Till then, let us start with the much awaited Q&A round. We'll be having this round only for a brief period of 10 minutes. Since most of the things Lohit has already covered, what I wanted to ask about was basically about the resumes as well. So, wanted to ask, does resume play an important role, when we're looking forward to get an internship or for that, case a position? And I think Lohit covered it pretty well. So I think what he tried to tell is, just imagine along with your single application, along with your single resume, there would be thousands more resume, in line behind you, right? So what different should you do so that your resume gets shortlisted and you move ahead to the other rounds? I think Lohit very well covered that. Another question, Lohit, which a lot of folks here wants to ask is, what there's a myth, right? Top top tech man companies like Google, Amazon, Meta, they exclusively hire from tier one and tier two college, campus placements, right? So let us say I'm coming from a tier three background, but I have gained a mastery over a particular skill in coding, right? Whichever the company is demanding. Would I even get a chance maybe to become a part of that firm?
So I I think the question has multiple questions within itself. So will you get a chance? Depends on how much you have upskilled yourself. Definitely, I mean, tier 3, tier 4, I know a lot of people, tier 4, tier 5 colleges also, or people who have done distance learning education, right? Probably who have not attended a proper college also are working at these places and doing better than folks who are in tier 1 companies also. So I mean, I don't see a reason why someone from tier 3, tier 4 colleges does not have a chance at these companies. Maybe yes. Why do these companies prefer tier 1 students? Again, as I said, it's all about them trying to put in some filtering criteria, right? Maybe, yeah, they could have a slight weightage for you being from some tier 1 college or some tier 1 background, but I don't think that's the sole, I think, criteria, because the game has become so level playing that everyone can prepare at the same level. Everyone has access to the same resources. So, and the companies want to interview each and every candidate because they can do it remotely, right? There's the cost to interview a candidate has reduced a lot. So they can interview a bigger pool of people, right? So they are always more than willing to try out people outside tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 colleges. They are also open to not only engineering colleges. I think folks from other backgrounds are also getting interviewed, given that they are able to prove that they will be able to come across through the interviews, right? So as a very interesting thing, an HR told me that a company barely looks at a background, right? Like once you join, as long as you're solving the problem for them. So an HR only wants confidence in you that you will be able to make through the interviews. And HR's goal is, and HR is in your team, right? So their goal is to find a person who will clear all the interviews. So they have to interview lesser people, right? So if you can give them the confidence that you are going to be able to crack the interviews, it's okay. I mean, if you tell them that, okay, I mean, you have practiced like 1,000 questions on a particular platform, or you have done well in so and so coding challenge, or you have done so and so project, which was so difficult, and you solved it for millions of users or even thousands of users, right? So yes, these are some pointers you can always use to show yourself and get a chance in interviewing these companies. And it's just about getting that first interview. Once you clear that resume filter stage, I think which college or what background or what age, all these things don't matter. After that, it becomes totally how well do you do in your interviews. So yeah,
I hope
is where we need to give the confidence.
I hope this answers your question. I think it is. I think you explained it very meticulously, covering all the aspect in a single question. So thank you so much for that. Another question Hema wants to ask, and I know what Hema is going to ask is the kind of apprehension which a lot of students might be having, since we are talking here about for a profile of software development engineer. What she wants to ask is it compulsory, or is it required to create an app on our own to get into Mang companies?
Man companies definitely no. At least when I interned at Microsoft, I did not have any apps. So I had some projects, but full-fledged application or something. Yeah, I did not have that. As I said, man companies generally tend to focus more on problem solving. Um, this is about man companies, and generally for internships, companies take it easy, right? Because everyone knows that okay, you are like 2 years or 3 years into education. Your internship is probably everyone's first experience outside their college or studies or real life. It's a first experience to real life problem solving, right? So it's totally fine if you don't have a new app or an app of your own. But given that, I mean, there are always opportunities or tutorials or blog posts available wherein you can take up ideas and build some small applications or projects in 2, 3, 4 days. Once you clear the prerequisites, right? So if you know whatever is needed to solve the project, you can always have it. It is always good because it acts as a conversation point in interviews, right? Like no one wants to start an interview directly by asking you a problem, right? Like everybody wants to start on something. Like they will ask you, okay, like this is a very interesting project. How did you do it? Or some, you need to give them something to talk about, right? And you also want to talk about something. So it helps, but Mang interviews, I don't think it impacts that much. Having it is always a plus point. Mang interviews, definitely not. Early stage startup companies, yes. If you have built an app, it's a very big plus point because they want people who can directly work from day one. But Mang interviews, definitely no. A small project, some small projects is more than enough, and problem solving skills more than enough.
Very, very well explained, Lohit. I know that the next question which I'm going to ask, you have already covered about it in much detail. But the reason I would like, I would like to ask it once again. And maybe you can sum it up in a single line. Is that I want each and every student here who is present in this particular session to kindly inculcate and listen to that very, very carefully. So, should one entirely focus on technical skills, or they should also polish their basic interpersonal skills if they want to apply into Mang companies?
Yes, I think making it very clear, only tech skills not going to get you the internship. Only soft skills or only interpersonal skills not going to get you the internship. You need to have the right mix of both to be able to get a Mang internship. Why? I mentioned why tech skills, because they are tech companies. If you don't have tech skills, you also are not going to be able to contribute there, and they also don't know what to do with you. So tech skills are important for those reasons. Why interpersonal skills? Because you are not joining a company where you are going to be alone. You are going to join a company where I think you will have 100,000 or maybe even lakhs of people working with you, right? So very, very important that you are able to tell them what you are doing. You are able to understand what they are doing, and you are also able to work as a team, right?
Very right.
Things are achieved as a group, right? And interpersonal skills become very, very important. So both of them are equally important to be able, the same way applies for interviewing also, right? Like you need soft skills to present yourself very well in the interviews. So both of them have their own weightage at their own places. You cannot ignore one for the other in any case.
A right mix of all, a right mix of both of them, guys. I think uh, this is the direction we all should walk towards. The last question I would take, I think Kriti Jain wants to ask that, which type of projects should be in our resume in order to get selected and move, to the further rounds in the interview process?
Okay. So, there is no specific type as such which probably helps you. But if I were to ask, like the best are those which are actually solving some problem. They are like 100 points plus, 100% plus, because you have actually solved some problem. Imagine you going an interview and telling that, okay, you built something which thousands or lakhs of people are using. You definitely, get a lot of points. But yes, not everyone we can do that. So what's next? you try to align projects which can possibly align with the company's work, right? So let's say if you were to apply at Google, right, you can think of answering or building a project which can answer queries or something similar to a search engine, right? A very small search engine, or you can build a file editor because Google Docs, or you can build a mini Excel sheet, right? Because Google Sheets, right? So all these projects which companies are working on, which actually have some sort of problem, always help. If you're applying for Uber, why not build a cab booking service, right?
Mhm.
A trivial one, it does not have to necessarily work for everyone, but a small project always helps. So I did a file editor project by the time I applied for jobs, and it helped me a lot. I think in every interviewer wanted to ask me that, okay, how do you build a VS Code or a notepad, right? And yes, I mean, it helps a lot. So you can always take a project and clone it. I mean, there is no shame. I think people think that there is nothing plus in cloning something. So you can take up Twitter, you can take up Facebook, you can take up LinkedIn and clone even a small part of it. That's like good enough. I mean, people are happy if you do it right, in the right way.
Thank you so much, Lohit. I think we are done with today's session. Thank you so much. The session was really enlightening in all its nature. Even I was attending, just like a student here. I even I got to know, what are the important things you'll have to keep in order to make your resume stronger. So thank you so much, Lohit, once again. Guys, just wanted to convey one more thing. I hope you really enjoyed the session by Lohit here. I'll be again sharing the Google Form link in the chat box for all of you who haven't filled the same. Please do that. And let me tell you what is ahead. We have already planned for all of you in the day. So at 9 p.m. sharp, 9 p.m. sharp, we're going to get another talented individual just like Lohit, just like Nupul, just like Varun. Again, his introduction is also above par, and I'll be introducing him. So please do not forget to join the session at 9 p.m. Please join the session 5 minutes prior so that we can start with the session early on. Right? Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye. Good evening. Thank you so much, Lohit, once again.